everybody, it's Nate from the Kraemer Life. A year ago, we had a bunch of trees removed by the gray barn and by the pond, and we transformed the pond area so we could use it for livestock and for other purposes. And this year, we're doing the same thing for the area that's behind me. We are on the south side of the property between our two driveways, and about a year and a half ago, Katie and I had a video where we explained what we wanted to do on the first 10 acres of the property. And this area behind me is in that front 10 acres. We're going to remove all of the trees that are behind us between the two driveways. And we're going to be making some swales and putting in a little food forest of fruit trees and berries and nut trees. You know, basically an edible lane of, of trees and brush and all that kind of stuff. Like a little mini food forest. The company that came out to do the kudzu removal on the northwest corner of our property, they're coming out with their mini excavator today, and they're going to start clearing the trees down by the road, and they're going to make their way forward up this way. And it's going to take a few days. It's going to be an exciting few days. We're really excited to have this project kicked off. There are a few trees in this area that we want to either save or do something with. It's going to be about 8 to 10 cedar trees that are really nice and big and straight that we're going to fell, we're going to limb, and we're going to save for like a pole or a support beam or something in like a storage shed or another pole barn down the road. There's a couple oak trees that we unfortunately do have to fell. They're going to be limbed. The bottom's going to be cut off, the root system, and the top's going to be cut off, but we're going to keep the long logs and hopefully be able to make them into saw logs or use them in some other project down the road. There's a couple yellow poplars we'll do the same thing with. And then there are Chinese chestnut trees, and you can see one behind me here. I actually have marked them all so they know not to touch them. We're keeping those in place because we want them to be part of the little mini food forest that we have here. That's part of our nut trees and our fruit trees and our berries. They do produce quite a bit of chestnuts, and the pigs have really enjoyed those. So those are staying. We're not touching those. Once they are done with the area between the driveways, they're going to head over to the area around the carport. There's quite a few trees that are pretty close proximity to the carport that really causes some issues. Number one, tons of leaves that fall and just clog the gutter. But more importantly, during high winds, we're really afraid that one or a few of those trees might fall over and damage the carport, and we want to avoid that. So those will be removed. The majority of those are either cedar or black cherry, and those will be cut up and made into firewood. There's one red maple tree that will be taken down, unfortunately, and we will salvage it and make it into saw lumber and do our best to use that thing effectively. Well, it's the morning of day number 2. They got a bunch of work done yesterday, as you guys saw. We were able to make a nice 22-foot long saw log. That's a nice oak there. Unfortunately, we had to take that thing down. So we're actually not going to be doing any work today. There's a wind advisory in effect. Maybe you can see some of this in action here. You may not be able to tell from the microphone because I have a wind guard on it, but it's quite windy today. And so he actually had to take his excavator back early this morning to help a friend. But he just brought it back and we were just talking, and because of these massive winds, here, check this out. Because of these really heavy winds, up to 60-mile-an-hour gusts, it's just not going to be safe for him to do any work with those trees. It'll just blow them all around, knock him into his cab. So he'll be back when weather permits. This is officially day number 2 of working on removing all of these trees from between our 2 driveways. Obviously it's snowing, so he's currently working underneath the power lines and the phone line, so he has to be really careful. But what he's trying to do is there's a couple poplars in there, yellow poplars, and there's a couple really good cedar trees that'll be good for posts for like a pole barn or something like that. So he's trying to save those, get those out of the way, and then he'll continue on in the rest of it. I think there's 1 or 2 more oaks and 1 or 2 more poplars in there that he's going to save as well. $20 years to go up, 1 afternoon to go down.
It doesn't feel so closed in anymore.
Yeah. So what should have been probably a 2-day job is turning into much more than that. Just due to some complications. The first day that he was here, he had to cut it short because they had a doctor appointment about an hour and a half away. And then he came back, but it had been raining, and that really causes the grounds here to be very, very, very slippery with the clay soil, and any sort of track equipment just kind of slip and slides through that. Plus they were going to start burning, but it was really wet and it just wasn't working out well. So they returned today after 3 days of not being here, actually 2 days of not being here due to really cold weather. We had a pretty big winter storm come through, and so now they're back at it again. They've dug even a bigger pit and they've tried to start the fire. Things are taking a little bit longer to actually start burning because it's just green. It's just too green. So they're working their way through, and I would say that they're probably 33% of the way up the hill that they need to be, and it's just going to be a little bit of a haul for them to get this thing done. So there's a couple low-hanging power lines. There's actually a power line and a phone line, and it kind of dips right here at right where he's at. So he has to be really careful about not nicking that. Despite their best effort, the fire is just not catching. So started off using a leaf blower to kind of fan the flames. Now we have a fan fanning the flames. So eventually this stuff will take. Once it dries out with enough constant trying, it'll catch. And then once we have really hot coals, we can just throw the rest on and it'll go up. But right now, not so good. The dogs are being really good. They're watching and observing, but they're keeping their distance, which is good. Make sure they're nice and safe. Staying away from those trees that are come tumbling down. Yeah, I don't know what his tactic is.
Yeah.
Katie was just asking if he's going up one side and down the other side, or
that's what it looks like.
Yeah, maybe trying to clear around the power lines first and then taking the other stuff out. I don't know.
That's kind of what it looks like. The way he's going up, it looks like he's kind of coming up this way, and then maybe he'll go back down. It looks like there'll probably be 3 trips, up, down, up.
Is this the best?